This is DDS. We are your hosts, Blake Melton, Bradley Newberry, and the man, Matthew Parker. He's got the day off. Newberry, tell me what's good.
Boy, not much is good around Middle Tennessee nor Duval County in Florida. But hey, Merry Christmas to all.
I guess so.
Yeah, I guess so. But we thank everybody for taking a moment out of their day to listen to us ramble on about some NFL reactions. Today we'll talk about the Titans losing to Pittsburgh. We'll talk about the new-look Jags falling to the Texans. We'll talk about COVID. And are the protocols taking over the end of this season? We'll also have an abbreviated Parker's Power Bomb. But first, let's start with the hometown Titans, Blake. The Tennessee Titans go on the road and somehow lose this game 19-13 over a depleted Steelers team. Gross.
Yeah, the word you just used there is a very good descriptive. Gross. This was an ugly game. I mean, there's no secret to how they lost this game. I mean, you look at the box score and 318 yards total. You know, didn't do very much on the passing side of the ball. I have some thoughts on that. They actually rushed the ball pretty well. They stuck with their identity. They had 200 yards rushing. Deontay Foreman, as some of you may follow on Twitter, that guy, I think if we would have ended up winning that game, it had to have been because of him and the defense, just because he was playing with all heart. 22 carries for 108 yards. Hilliard had 49 yards as well. McNichols tacked on 26. So, I mean, we stuck with the identity there, but this has been the problem ever since we have not had Derrick Henry in the lineup, and quite frankly had any of our stars in the lineup. 4 turnovers. Yeah. 4. When you lose the turnover battle that badly, you can't beat anybody, particularly a professional team. And the fact that you can't beat a team that only gained 168 total yards, dude, that's bad. But like I said, I mean, we keep saying this over and over and over every single week. The defense keeps putting you in position to be able to get back in the game. Second half, no Julio. Tweaks his hamstring in the first half. That's turning out to be a bust for sure. A.J. Brown, I think, is going to be coming back this week. Thank God. But we can't get Derrick Henry back fast enough. There's just not enough targets for Ryan Tannehill to be able to force the ball into, and honestly, he's just not that guy. He's not a good enough passer to be able to just jam the ball down the throat. I don't like a lot. Look, I'm not making any excuses for this Titans team. Right now, they're terrible. We're really going to struggle until we get both A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry back. Ryan Tannehill is going to struggle mightily also, or in particular, actually. We've got guys running the same route on plays. We've got guys literally standing next to each other, running routes. And it's like, guys, either the play sucks or you suck and you don't know the playbook. So it's literally, I'm not making excuses for Ryan Tannehill, but it sure does make him look bad whenever that kind of stuff happens. And he just has no deep threat at the moment. I mean, right now, Nick Westbrook-Akina is kind of his guy. And he didn't do much. 4 receptions for 32 yards. I mean, good grief. It was tough to watch, Newberry, just because you could just see the train wreck happening right in front of you in slow motion. Like I said, over and over again, the defense kept putting us in position. But ultimately, whenever you turn the ball over four times in the NFL, you're not going to win the game.
No, when Coach Vrabel was asked about the turnovers, And honestly, I've heard on local sports talk this week is that he's been seen on the practice field with boxing gloves, Blake, like punching at the balls. I don't know what more the coach can do to quote unquote help these guys not fumble the ball. He's literally out there punching at them.
Yeah.
With boxing gloves. This is not on your coach. When asked about the turnovers, he was like, look, when you say mistakes, obviously mistakes are a major part of the game. The turnovers, we have to hold on the ball with much more regard. We can't do that and think that we're going to win an NFL football game. He's absolutely right, man. These turnovers will make the great teams bad, and getting the turnovers will make the bad teams look even better. So when you give a bad team, and yes, I'm calling you Pittsburgh a bad team. Yeah. When you give them that many opportunities, short fields, you're going to get a result like this, a 19-13 stupid loss to the Steelers, and now it's putting a little sense of urgency. The Titans are only one win above the Colts now.
Yeah.
They have major tiebreaker advantages, thankfully, but it's only one win difference between the Titans and the Colts with 3 to go.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that this is really highlighting, in my opinion, I'd love to get your take on this. This really is highlighting some of the poor decisions made in the offseason, probably, that, I mean, Newberry's been talking about a lot of them. But my big thing in particular about the moves that were made in the offseason surrounding the tight end position, I'm seeing it every week just absolutely kill us. Ferkser's not the guy. He's not. You know, you're sitting down and you're looking at Jonnu and you're looking at Ferkser. Why in the world are we even talking about getting rid of Jonnu when, I mean, Ferkser, he's a terrible blocker, and I've seen him drop more passes this year than I've ever seen a tight end drop.
And let's not forget about Jeff Swaim, who they picked up and signed after the Jaguars of all teams released him.
Yeah. I mean, these guys, I mean, I think Michael Pruitt is probably underutilized amongst the tight ends. I don't know exactly what the deal is there. But we got too many guys dropping balls. We got star players not catching any balls. We got star players not playing that we're paying a lot of money to. Some of them, I mean, look, I get it. Hamstring injuries are notorious for being nagging, that they hang around and they come back and they're tough to get rid of after you've had them. And being a speedster, being a vertical threat like Julio is, I get it, man. That's probably tough for him to get over. But at this point, Newberry, I'm ready for them just to shut him down until the playoffs. And if he's there, he's there. You know, I tend to think that AJ is, for the most part, pretty durable. This year's kind of been an anomaly. I don't know exactly what this injury was to his chest. He recently, maybe a separated rib or something.
I mean, one could speculate it all started with his little fast food outing. Maybe Chipotle led to.
He's got the Chipotle chest.
No, but in all seriousness, man, that's almost like a Derrick Henry playing wide receiver, honestly.
Yeah.
With that guy.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said in the opening, I don't think that Todd Downing is without fault here. I mean, but at the same time, he's missing 3 of his major pieces that he was supposed to have on the chessboard here. But at the same time, that, like we talked about, this is kind of exposing some areas that we just don't have a lot of really good options after the first line of folks, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Some of Parker's reactions were the Pittsburgh Steelers had the least amount of yardage for a winning team this year. Gross.
Yeah.
The Titans committed 3 turnovers and 10 plays. Come on, players aside, you can't do that. garbage. Julio Jones, he believed his injury was tweaked in the first quarter. He played some in the second. He thought was maybe just a decoy, and then they just shut him down. Didn't even play the rest of the game at halftime. So those are some of the notes. Parker was very disappointed. Looking ahead to Thursday, he's like, it's going to be a Vrabel spot, he believes. But we'll see.
Man, I don't know. I don't know about that, man. This was one of those wins where you kind of check yourself. I mean, you look at the box score, and I'm not huge into completions and attempts and yards and all that, but I mean, Tannehill completed a lot of passes. He was 23 of 32, only for 153. I mean, and if I use simple logic, that tells me that they're running the old Urban Meyer offense. They're throwing the ball within 5 yards of the daggum line of scrimmage.
Well, you and Parker said that's because you don't have a receiver that can run a route right now.
Well, I mean, that may be the case. It really may be. But then there are times. Well, first off, I don't know if you were watching the game. First play of the game should have been a touchdown to Julio Jones. Julio Jones had 5 steps on the defender, but he got sacked on the first play.
Oh, okay. All right. Stop right there. So, I mean, we've talked a lot about – you brought us to the offseason a little bit with tight ends.
Yep.
I've mentioned in previous shows I didn't like the offseason for the fact of the offensive line. You kind of just ignored it, assuming that everything that you had in-house was hunky-dory perfect. But this is an offensive line that heading into the Steelers game that allowed the Jacksonville Jaguars of all teams to get 4 sacks. They were blowing up run plays. And the strength of the Pittsburgh Steelers, we said, was their defense, their defensive line. Could they hold up? They tried the big play here, and then you're starting second and long right out the gate.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally if Ryan Tannehill just had enough time to fling the ball. And I will blame a little bit of this on Tannehill because I don't even know if he saw him. I'm kind of trying to give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe he didn't have enough time. But it's like, dude, if Julio Jones is running a go route, that should be the first place you're looking. And Julio ran a go route, and this guy did not have a chance. He was 5 steps beyond him with his hand up in the air. And the second he put his hand up in the air, Ryan Tannehill was going down. All he had to do was just fling the ball, and Julio would have ran under it. But the offensive line, the lack of depth, that was always the nice, comforting thing was to have, they call him the Undertaker, Dennis Kelly, having him there on the bench to be able to come in and literally just be the Swiss Army knife on the offensive line, be able to do everything. Not having that guy and as streaky, and I'm becoming to the point to where I don't want my offensive lineman streaky. That's not a good descriptor in my opinion for an offensive lineman. I want him to be consistent, and this year consistency is not the word, or consistent is not the word I would use to describe the Titans offensive line.
No. A short turnaround. This is a game that
got to shake it off.
And you're at home too, prime time. I talked about this with Parker a little bit. And look, you've got an opportunity here with your home crowd. Win a game on a short week versus a team that's having to fly here from California. Send everyone home with a Merry Christmas. You get to have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. Play your hardest. You get 4 days off after this. Let's focus for a couple of days here and get a victory.
Yeah, this short turnaround kind of bugs me a little bit, particularly after the way that they lost in such an ugly fashion. With it being an NFL game, you kind of hope that it's an aberration, but the problem is we're seeing more and more of it here with the Titans lately. just these ugly games. And I don't know that they get any better on the offensive side of the ball until we start getting some of our regulars back into the game. And I mean, I think we might as well just assume Julio's not going to be there. I mean, like I said, they need to shut him down until the playoffs, and he doesn't need to come back until he's healthy. And I mean, there's no point in him being out there if he can't function. I think that one thing, if you're going to draw some sort of silver lining out of this, it's that we've got the ability to run the ball. We still have that ability. But my God, we got to hang on to it. We got to protect the football. Ball security's got to be a priority. Like you said, there's at some point when you get to the professional level, the coach can only do so much. You know, you're professionals. You know you're supposed to hold on to the ball. You know, we can practice punching the ball out and all that, but unless you go out there and do it, I mean, most teams are not going to keep you around if you can't protect the ball. If you can't protect the ball, I mean, that's probably why you're not a regular on an NFL team. So we'll see how all that plays out. But right now, it's this is not the first week that this kind of stuff has reared its head. I mean, you know, people pick on Tannehill because of the interceptions. The caveat there, I kind of looked away when it happened, but I did watch the replay. It looked like it was tipped at the line. So, but we'll see. I mean, it does seem like we just have a turnover problem in Nashville at the moment.
Yep. I don't have anything else written down, unless you do.
Yeah,
but
I'm ready to get.
Very disappointing loss.
Very disappointing. Yeah, that's putting it lightly.
All right, so we'll move on down to Florida. Another loss, but the old Jags stick with the theme of if you need a team to play to break a losing streak, just knock on the Jaguars' door. The Texans.
Just come on down to Duval.
I mean, the Houston Texans end a 3-game losing streak with a 30-16 victory over the Jaguars. And I will tell you, this game, Blake, it started off with the Jaguars winning the toss. They deferred, put their defense on the field first against the lowly Texans.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be damned, they 3 and out.
That's what you're supposed to do, right?
Happens on the punt? Guess what happens on the punt? A penalty. First down, Texans. I mean, you're already very first thing, man. You get your defense 3 and out. They're off the field. Stupid ass penalty with the special teams. And then the Texans proceed to go on some ungodly 8-minute drive after that.
Yeah.
And get a touchdown. It's just a backbreaker, a killer for a franchise and a team that can't afford mistakes, but they continue to do them every week.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. I mean, teams like Jacksonville, you can't make those kinds of mistakes. Whenever you have a positive, whenever you have an opportunity to gain momentum, you can't have stupid mental mistakes, little self-inflicted wounds, if you will. And that's all that was. I mean, it just kind of set the tone for the rest of the game, quite frankly.
It put them behind, and then they were chasing the rest of the game. They responded with their own 9-play, 79-yard drive, but had to settle for 3. So here you go, blow for blow, you're down 7-3.
Yeah. After
each team has 1 possession.
Yeah.
And it could have been completely different.
Yeah, I mean, so the Jaguars, I mean, this is about what I thought would happen. I mean, this was not I wouldn't call this this was just the classic pool noodle game. For those of you who watch our channel regularly, you know what that means. But I kind of expected them to go out and maybe do a little bit more than they have been doing as far as maybe getting some stuff done. I mean, they scored in every quarter. It's just they have to figure out how to take that next step and how to win, how to score touchdowns. You know, this league is not won by kicking, 3 field goals. Games are not really won that way. You got to be able to score and put the ball in the end zone. I think that this team is galvanized. I see that James Robinson actually got some decent carries. He got 18 carries for 75 yards. I'm still not convinced about this. I didn't watch all this game, but I'm not convinced about this system. I think that's one of the things that's going to have to be addressed at the end of the year. But I think they have some of the pieces. But they've got to start looking at how they can try to get something positive out of this year that has been mostly negative because of the head coach.
Yeah, well,
who's now
gone, thankfully. Mm-hmm. Head coach gone, and then just a follow up on 7-3, because I know you probably didn't see this, but literally right after the Jags score a field goal, make it 7-3. Special team blunders again. They give up a 98-yard kickoff for a touchdown. I mean, the special teams absolutely killed any galvanized momentum that the team had going into this game without Urban Meyer. So thanks a lot, special teams. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, anytime that you have a chance to seize momentum, you know, they screwed it up on the punt on the first possession. They go down, they score, you know, they kick it off. Now they have a chance to kind of stop their momentum and maybe start to gain some momentum coming back, and then you give up 98-yard run back. I mean, good grief.
Too much chasing for a team that
yeah.
Their wide receivers are just a step above what I'm looking at in Tennessee right now without A.J. Brown. But it's a struggle, man. Then you compare Davis Mills of all people to Trevor Lawrence. Yes, Trevor Lawrence did his typical no touchdown, no interception day. But, man, Davis Mills, the one that we've been reaming on all year about why did they waste this pick and what a horrible – if you just look at it, you're like, which one's the better rookie?
Yeah.
2 touchdowns, 209 yards.
Yeah, I mean, just steady Eddie. I mean, but again, there's no expectations in Houston either. I mean, regardless of who won here, I mean, someone had to win, right?
Somebody had to win, and somebody had to lose. So the shining light here is Jacksonville. You lost, and now you have earned the right to the number 1 overall pick again with this loss, with 3 games to go.
Well, first they got to figure out what's going on at the head coach position, which kind of worries me. That whole situation down there is kind of worrisome because I just kind of feel – I don't know why. I mean, Bradley, you're the one that follows Jacksonville.
Yep.
I don't know if I really feel like Shad Khan knows what he's doing.
I think he's admitted as such.
I know, and it scares me because is he getting paralysis by analysis at the moment?
I just think that he needs the right person giving him the analysis.
Fair enough.
He tried to do this with bringing back Tom Coughlin in a VP role, kind of to have the overseeing the football operations, and it was the right idea and apparently the wrong guy. So I think maybe he needs to go back to that idea. Some names I've heard out of Jacksonville sports talk this week. Not that you'll be able to ever sign him as a coach, but can you throw a lot of money at Tony Dungy just to get some information? Let me pick your brain. I'll pay you to maybe be a consultant because I don't think that he wants to coach. But can I use your knowledge and NFL wisdom on what the hell? How do we set this operation on the right path? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you're kind of onto something there because I feel like the Jaguars really just don't have an identity at the moment. Oh, good Lord. What is playing on this? Sorry here, folks.
It's Shad Khan calling.
Wow. Sorry,
I'm going to DDS.
There, golly.
For some direction.
Good Lord Almighty. Anyway, sorry, I had a pop-up start playing music there on my computer. Good grief. Anyways, yeah, I think Tony Dungy also, he's kind of the character guy too. And I think after something like this, I think the quick reaction is to find somebody of character and bring them in to kind of fix the culture. Because right now, I think that's one thing that people view Jacksonville as, because of the Urban Meyer situation, is having that's not where, good character lies down there. And, I get it. It's all a business and it's not necessarily about character, but also it's an image thing. There are kids that come to the park. There are young people that you want to get involved with in the community. And that the character side of things, I think, would be a huge thing to be able to bring someone the likes of Tony Dungy, to be able to bring him in and kind of fix things a little bit, at least, like you said, set them on the correct path.
Yeah, and all the while, the number one focus that all of this has to be around is Trevor Lawrence. I mean, this is supposed to be the once-in-a-lifetime generational quarterback. You cannot waste this career. This feels like a wasted year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not happy about it. I came into this season thinking, I said it. I said, this isn't the year to have the expectations. But at the same time, I didn't want this to be a year that feels like it was just totally wasted.
Yeah.
So now does that stunt the growth where we were thinking, okay, year 2, next year was supposed to be the step-up year. And then year 3 is look out. Now I almost feel like year 2 is the let's see, and year 3 is the step up, and now year 4, it's almost like everything's pushed back.
Well, it's going to be a net positive if you can get through this year without getting Trevor Lawrence injured. That was my biggest fear with the way that things were being run under Urban Meyer, was there were plenty of opportunities where they could have taken Trevor Lawrence out of the game. Like, there was no chance he was going to win the game. There's no chance. And they chose to leave him on the field. And there's just been play calls that I could literally, I've said it on this show before, I could see it in Trevor's eyes where he ran the play and he looked over to the sideline like, don't ever call that play again. That was stupid. Like, read options and things like that. And he's like, dude, I'm a 21-year-old kid out here going against grown men. I said, it's like, don't call plays where I'm going to have to make a choice to run up the middle with the ball. Particularly in my first year. But you're right. I think this year it totally set him back a year. I mean, like you said, this is not, he was thrown into a gimmick system. Let's just call it what it is. It's a gimmick system. And gimmick systems tend to not work in the NFL, and they tend to breed players that are not versatile and able to do very many things. And I think, like you said, I think Trevor Lawrence is the real deal. I think he's got all the raw talent in the world, but if he can't be put in a situation where his talent and his skills and his gifts can be developed and nurtured, then that's not going to be good for him. Hopefully he can bounce back from this. And like I said, I really hope that he gets through the year without getting injured at this point.
No. And final take, one quick shout out to rookie cornerback from the Jaguars, Tyson Campbell. The last 3 or 4 weeks, he has really found his groove under the tutelage of cornerback Shaq Griffin. He had an interception here, Blake. Mm-hmm. PFF rated him as one of the top 3 cornerbacks performances this past week. So rookie starting to step up a little bit there on the defensive side.
Like I said, there are pieces on the board that are the right pieces. You just got to be able to fill the gaps. You got to be able to put something around them.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on to just some quick takes here around the league. So a big topic is COVID and NFL protocols around such. They're having a big effect on who can play, Some are saying the outcomes of games are being decided by silly protocols. You're on a slippery slope here when you start saying the NFL is controlling outcomes of games. So I imagine they're just trying to do the best they can with what this society's dealing them right now.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit hyperbolic to say that the NFL is controlling the outcomes of games. I think it's probably more accurate to say that the protocols that they set in place are. I mean, this isn't the NFL's choice. I mean, this is something that everybody agreed to at the beginning of the season. And I don't know if there is a situation where the NFL would be in a spot where it would be the right thing to do, if that makes sense. I just feel like there's no winning for them because this was inevitable to happen. It was inevitable that at some point an entire side of the ball on a team gets sick or gets infected.
But they didn't really. A lot of this is the close proximity rules. So there's maybe a couple of them that have the sniffles, and because you were close, then we're going to assume you had the sniffles too. So
and I mean, so that has to be something that, if I'm going to be critical of it, I think they have to be able to be flexible. I think these rules have to be able to be flexed at some point to where it's like, if it gets to a point to where, we're starting to affect games, maybe we look at it a different way. Maybe I don't know if they can increase testing. I don't know exactly what the testing protocol is now, but, at this point, I mean, we've got what is this? The Houston Texans. God, that looks like about 12 or 13 people right there. Kansas City Chiefs, even worse, like 15 people. Chargers.
Look at the Steelers.
The Rams look ridiculous. The Jets probably got close to 20, if not 20. The Washington football team. I mean, Heineke now has it, apparently.
He didn't play this past week.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears, the Browns are the worst.
Browns, that was the big news with Baker getting back and forth between the league.
I don't know really what you do to be able to fix that, other than you have to pump the brakes on the close contact rule. But I'm clearly not the person to be giving the NFL, medical advice on how to treat their players and how to do all that. But I mean, look, they made these rules, they made these guidelines. I don't know. If everybody else is playing by the same rules, I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't think anybody did anything wrong here. I don't want to imply that. This is it's a slippery slope, and
it is.
And I know there's a whole political side to this, and
I'm not going there.
I'm not either. I mean, ultimately,
my last thought about this, dude, is look, the players' union's in control. The players' union will not let the NFL cancel these games, because it was written in the rules that if the games are forfeited or canceled, all of the players involved in the games do not get paid. So there's no way they're going to cancel them. The players will not allow the games to cancel. They'll pull me and you off the streets so that their players can get paid to complete these games.
Yeah, I think that's kind of messed up. I have my own opinions about this whole COVID-19 thing. I think that eventually we're going to come out of it. But ultimately, I think you got to protect the players. I think that's really what it comes down to, Newberry. I mean, I don't think there's any getting around it. I understand why they're doing it. I don't hate them for it. It's just man, is it creating such havoc with the schedule this year. And I'm kind of surprised that we made it to this point before something like this happened.
They'll keep pushing on. Onward ho goes the NFL, the super machine. But I don't have anything else here. I did get from Parker a little Parker's power bomb attempt, if you want me to try to deliver this in a Parker-like manner.
Oh boy, I can't wait to hear this one. This is Newberry's best attempt at a Parker power bomb.
I apologize. You gave me the notes. I'm going to try to ramp this up somewhat like you would. Let's talk about Jonathan Taylor from the Indianapolis Colts for a minute. Why is everybody talking about him? Is it because the King is still injured? Who talked about him last year? Yes, he was a rookie. Yes, he played well. 1,169 yards and 11 touchdowns. But did we hear much about Jonathan Taylor last year? No, we didn't. Because he plays for Indianapolis and he's just another running back. Those that watch him on the field wearing number 28 would probably mistake him as Fred Taylor instead of Jonathan Taylor. We're only hearing about him now because the King is hurt. When the King returns, he will take over his throne. All this talk about NFL MVP. Look, it's just this month's hot toy. It's the hot Christmas item. But everybody beware. This year's hot Christmas toy will be next year's yard sale item. Goodbye, Jonathan Taylor.
Man, I felt the heat on that one. I can't imagine.
Justice. He just thinks this Jonathan Taylor MVP talk's a little overblown.
I tend to agree with him. I think that just shows you how weak the NFL is for star power this year. Oops. Did I say that? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's all that I've got. Reaction show in the books.
Absolutely. Man. Oh, I got to get that bad taste out of my mouth from that Steelers game, but it'll go away. I'm sure. I gotta get it out before Thursday night. So
they've got an opportunity to do it quickly here, and for us here at DDS, we'll have to quickly turn around and give an NFL slate of picks with the Titans playing tomorrow night.
Absolutely. But thanks guys. Go ahead and check us out on Twitter at DDS Sports Talk. Let's get that conversation started there. Is Jonathan Taylor the real deal? Or is he just a steward for when the King returns? Let us know what you think. You can also check us out. Actually, let's see. Where else can you check us out? I guess you can go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the thumbs up notification bell for new videos. But yeah, any closing thoughts here, Newberry?
Just looking ahead to the Jags, they play their Super Bowl game against the Jets that will pit number 1 quarterback Trevor Lawrence versus the number 2 draft pick from the New York Jets, the little guy. I mean, what am I looking forward to here?
Yeah, well.
I don't know. It's garbage, but I will have it on my TV for some reason.
All right, well, it'll get better. I promise. All right, you guys take care of yourself. We'll have the pick show out very shortly. Other than that, two-tone blue all the way. You guys be well.